Hello, everybody. I'm here again today. Gonna make y'all another video about some more things that happened to me during the probating of my ex-husband's estate and the probating of my mother's estate, and beforehand and after as well. This is a very serious situation, and that is the only reason I'm doing this. Okay, so I want to start today talking about the date of April the 10th of 2023. So that is when Cody, my attorney at the time, that is when I asked him, I said, Cody, has McGuire filed the inventory for Jim Pace's estate yet? Cody replied back, nothing. I replied back, that is so frustrating. But at 5:43 p.m., Cody said that he had checked again and that it was filed. So, as I was thumbing through Jim's accounting and inventory, I was at a loss for words for one reason. All of the loans and deeds of trust are with Bank Plus, and but however, I shook that off and was mainly trying to make sure that there was not a loan and deed of trust encumbering 100 Mansdale Park Drive, which was my children's inheritance from the Jim Pace estate because their dad had died since Jim had died. And Will had told me, my ex-husband Will, who had passed away, but he had already told me for several years that that property was paid for. There was no loan on it, anything like that. And so I believed him and he had no reason to make that up. But I needed to just look for myself anyway. So that's why another reason I was going through Jim's accounting and inventory, and other reasons as well. But so when I was looking at it, I did see something else weird on Bank Plus in the Jim Pace estate accounting and inventory. It was footnote 11, and it states that this bank account status is unknown. And there are 3 Bank Plus bank accounts listed on Jim's accounting and inventory with footnote 11, status unknown. So I kept thinking, how can Marita not know the status of any bank account? Just take your you-know-what to the bank there and find out. So let me explain how this was, because it wasn't that easy. She couldn't just go to the bank and find out, if you know what I mean. So let me tell you, because anyway. So during this time, in February and March of 2023, before that accounting was filed, Todd Burwell, Richard Eisenberger Jr., Jeffrey McGuire, Tom Pace, and Marita Walton were sneaking around with Bank Plus in Yazoo City, Mississippi, faking and forging loans and deeds of trust on properties in the names of Jim Pace and Will Pace. These people were in the process of swapping a loan of Jim Pace's in the amount of $407,931.27, secured by deed of trust on Fox Hollow Place in Ridgeland, Mississippi, to the Will Pace estate, swapping that loan and putting it on my children, via a faked and forged assignment of rents and deed of trust on Blue Skies Investments and Circle 7 properties, which were Will's properties that he inherited from Jim, the Blue Skies was. Allow me to show you this electronic cover page file date. It says this assignment of rent was filed on July the 12th of 2024 on that electronic cover page. Okay, but the date on the assignment of rents, which is they backdated it 9 years, is December the 10th, 2015. Okay, so that's obvious, undeniable fakery. The reason they were unloading $407,931.27 off the beneficiary of Fox Hollow Place is because she was allowing Tom Pace, Todd Burwell, Richard Eisenberger Jr., and Jeffrey McGuire, she was allowing them to rob my children's Jaguar, Maserati, guns, a $75,000 tool collection, Jim's life insurance policy proceeds, a Rolex watch, a four-wheeler, and much more that I don't even know about. So in exchange for all this stuff, Burwell, Eisenberger, and Tom Pace were working their fraud magic to rid her of all loans encumbering all the property she inherited from Jim Pace. Please be aware that this, as well as all the rest of the fraud, embezzlement, and robbery acts, have knowingly been ordered and entered as approved by Judge James Walker and Judge Robert G. Clark III of Madison County Chancery Court in Canton, Mississippi. These two judges are coming on the intercom, making announcements to smother and gag minor beneficiaries' inheritance. This is largely because they themselves are beneficiaries to these criminal trust funds, which my children's inheritance funded. So, in yet another effort to strangle my children to death, was a plan Tom Pace and Todd Burwell drummed up while Will Pace was vomiting to death, and while Ann Pace, Will and Tom and Marita's mother, was fully incapacitated at 92 years old. On August 9th of 2022, with Will vomiting to death, an application for reinstatement following an administrative dissolution was filed with the Mississippi Secretary of State on behalf of Circle 7 Properties, LLC. The email address used in this filing was none other than Dr. Thomas B. Pace's, MD. Why did Tom do this, you may wonder? Well, he had to reinstate a 30-year leasehold, or this was what his robbery plan was, to reinstate a 30-year leasehold on Circle 7 Properties, LLC, in order to claim that his and Will and Marita's 92-year-old mother was 90% owner of this leasehold and that Will was 10% owner. And this was done because, based on an appraisal ordered by Tom Pace and done by Ryan Nunley, Barr Biggs, and Sam Cox on 100 Mansdale Park Drive, they valued that property, my children's property, at $2,127,000, of which Nunley, Biggs, and Cox, per Tom's order and instruction, claimed that Circle 7 Property LLC's leasehold interest is valued at $1,210,000, while Blue Sky's simple fee interest is valued at only $917,000. In other words, they planned on stealing the net proceeds from the sale of my children's property and giving it to their 92-year-old grandmother, Tom's mother. And this plan failed only because the creditor to the Will Pace estate, who was Will Phillips, was also insisting we go to court and argue this Circle 7 Properties 90% leasehold debate, because he held a $515,082 judgment against the estate of Will Pace, and Phillips was trying to get the money instead of letting Tom and Marita steal it all. Of course, so was I. So this Tom Pace plan failed, believe it or not, but listen to why it failed. The only reason it failed is because Todd Burwell, this is so crazy, and Richard Eisenberger were also representing Tom and Will's 92-year-old mother via Tom Pace as her power of attorney. So they were trying to get the money to Mrs. Ann Pace, but they're supposed to be representing Will Pace and my children. So therefore, since they were also representing the estate of Will Pace and Mrs. Pace, they would not be able to take this matter to court because they would then have to argue both sides. So Judge Clark has, of course, allowed them to have so many conflicts of interest they can't see straight, but they ran into this one roadblock. On top of all this, there's not even a probated claim in Will Pace's estate docket for this loan. So anyway, now I'm going to show you some fake Bank Plus documents, including promissory loans, deeds of trust, a fake quit claim deed, along with the real life quit claim deed. The real life one I recovered in an old email from my divorce attorney. Okay, so I have both. The one that's filed at the crime scene in Madison County Chancery Clerk's office and the real one. And they still are denying me everything. And a fake authority to cancel this deed of trust. All of these are title insurance scams done by Bank Plus in Yazoo City, Mississippi, by attorney E. Barry Bridgeforth of Yazoo City, Mississippi, by attorney Todd Burwell, attorney Richard Eisenberger Jr., and Dr. Thomas B. Pace. Undertaken via robbing my identity and my dead ex-husband's identity, This particular title insurance scam went down during this time frame I'm on today, which is March of 2023 to May of 2023. First, let me show you what all these papers are, and then I'll explain this the best I can. And I know my explanation will not be a perfect one. So if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments and I'll try to explain. I'm going to first show you this fake Bank Plus deed of trust, which is on myself and Will, okay? I've called this Exhibit A. Okay, this deed of trust is for $417,000 to the penny. There's whiteout everywhere, and with Bank Plus as the beneficiary. You can see whiteout right over here. A bunch of whiteout up here, a bunch of whiteout there, but it's just fake. Okay, Exhibit B, here is the release of deed of trust for that. So, let me tell you about it. This release of deed is dated March 16th of 2016. It says that Will and I paid off all debt on 128 Adderley Boulevard, Madison, Mississippi, which is a lie. And that Bank Plus has hereby received and acknowledged this. Lies. Plus, another thing is, our loan was not even with Bank Plus. And also, this says that Bank Plus does hereby convey and quit claim 128 Adderley Boulevard, which was our house, unto Will Pace and to myself. Although at the time, I was living elsewhere without any title or interest at all to 128 Adderley Boulevard. Or that Bank Plus conveys or quit claims 128 Adderley Boulevard to mine and Will's legal representatives, successors, or assigns, and that we assign all right, title, interest whatsoever it may have acquired in via a deed of trust bearing the date of June 29th, 2012, which is the one I'm talking about right now. The one that they are saying is satisfied and released and filed for record in Madison County, Mississippi Chancery Clerk's Office on July the 2nd of 2012. So let me show you this. Exhibit C is a handwritten cover page for that release of deed of trust. So they, like I showed you on the one they did electronically, that was a big mess up because the electronic date was 2024 and the fake assignment of rents was December the 10th of 2015. So they have to handwrite them. They don't have any other way to do it. So they handwrite them. All the fraud ones. I have like 50 of them in here. So anyway, Exhibit D, I'm going to show y'all, is my real life quitclaim deed. That's real. This is dated January the 20th of 2016, which is the very day we signed our divorce papers. Exhibit E is the fake quitclaim deed, which they dated for me or for whoever they're dating it for, not for me. And they forged my name. See? It's dated February the 19th, 2016. Exhibit F is a fake and forged promissory note and deed of trust with Bank Plus taken out in my dead ex-husband's name, William Pace, stating that he borrowed $392,920.99 and will pay $2,129 every month. But get this, will make one irregular last payment estimated at $347,904.24, which they say that payment is due on April 5th, 2023, which is exactly what was going on. All this was going on while I was waiting, sitting tight and waiting on that summary judge to try to get it into the summary judgment hearing. That's why they were having to delay me so much, on top of the fact you couldn't put Judge Clark in the hot seat over something so obvious like my breach of contract complaint. So anyway, since I have found 2 fake loans and 2 fake deeds of trust that I've just shown you, then all I can conclude is that using 128 Adderley Boulevard, which was Will's house and ours years ago, once to commit insurance fraud was not enough, so they used it twice. This is all I can conclude. The first insurance fraud check must have been for a minimum of $417,000 because that is the amount on the first fake deed of trust, and the second insurance fraud check must have been for around $392,920.99 per the second deed of trust. So while Bank Plus, Todd Burwell, and Richard Eisenberger Jr. were dealing with this scam, I'll get back to what I was dealing with on March in 2023. On March 21st of 2023, before that big monthly $120 was rolling in to that Bank Plus account that I had with Sonny, and way before I knew anything whatsoever, I asked Burwell and Eisenberger and Tom for $1,000, just $1,000 for Sonny, and also to let me know how they plan on transferring me money for Sonny. Well, that was never going to happen, but I was then told by my attorney at the time, Cody Gibson, that Eisenberger asked that I do not email him. Don't do it. Even though my children's money is in your pocket, you don't do it. Eisenberger proceeds to tell Gibson that back in October of 2022, that he had asked me for information needed for Sonny to allow Tom as the trustee to deposit discretionary trust distributions into a joint account with Tom for Sonny's benefit. And Eisenberger also told Gibson, thus, since Kate has refused to do this, there's no appropriate avenue in which Tom Pace can issue any of this allowance money to Sonny. So Eisenberger continues to tell Gibson that if I change my position, and get this, if I decide to cooperate with Tom, that to let him know, just decide to cooperate. This is just so disgusting. But on March 23rd of 2023, I asked Cody, just what are they doing with Sonny's money? It's 7 months since Will died, and I have no idea. And I said, Tom is breaching all kinds of duties, to put it mildly, although Tom was never supposed to have any duty in the first place. Then Cody had the nerve to ask me, well, do you have a bank account set up like Eisenberger has been asking for Sonny and Tom? And if not, that's fine, that he's only asking because he knows Eisenberger will be asking him again soon. I told Gibson that Sonny has a joint account with me. Then I said, I have an uneasy feeling about something you've been discussing with Eisenberger. Cody replied back that nothing has changed. June 1st is on the date for our summary judgment hearing, and the agreed order on this date should be entered soon, and everybody is on board. So sure enough, I received word on March 23, 2023, that Tom has created a Bank Plus account with Sonny and himself. She was 13 at the time, and I have been telling Tom and Eisenberger, you may not do this. You may not do this. But Vice President Parks Watson at Bank Plus in Yazoo City, Mississippi, flies high above any laws along with all these people. So he just went ahead and made an account with Sonny and Tom Pace together anyway without my permission. No big deal. Gibson told me that supposedly there's money in there. And he knows that this is not what I asked for, but that money is accessible. But it's not accessible to me, Cody. Gibson told me he asked Eisenberger for information about the account, but that he did not have any information. Cody told me that since all the pleadings have been filed and we are waiting on them, I guess to have hearings on them was what he was meaning by waiting on them, that there is nothing much for him to do right now. So let me end today by just saying that I'm currently very upset and going public on Facebook about my brother, attorney brother Alan Woodard, about my sister Emily Woodard Nicholson, my aunt Tweety, or Mary Tweety, nicknamed Tweety, Savory Huff, and their fraudster CPA, Joey Cunningham of Belzona, Mississippi, and what they have done to me. At the same time all this was being done to mine and Will's children, I was being robbed of over $1.5 million of farmland and rent. I'm trying to force my family to simply abide by our mother's wishes, but they don't want to do that. This is all really awful. I'll get back to y'all in a few days. Thank you.